So for the first question is, would you please introduce yourself to the students, tell us your background and the courses that you teach. So my name is Chandak Basu. I was born and brought up in India. I came to US for graduate studies, and right now I work as a full-time professor at the Department of Biology at the California State University, Northridge. And my background is in agricultural science for my bachelor's degree. For my master's degree, I did molecular breeding. So my master's degree was in agronomy, but molecular breeding. And my PhD was in plant molecular biology. And the courses that I teach at CSUN is recombinant DNA lab and lecture. And I also teach biotechnology. I did teach Bio 107 long time ago. I also teach seminar in biotechnology. What do you do research in? So as I mentioned, that my background is in plant biotech. So I genetically transform plants for trait enhancement and modification. So I study stress tolerance in plants, how plants can survive in extremes of weather. And so the goal is to understand how they fight back against this extreme weather using the tools of genomics, next generation sequencing, and then we understand the structure and function of these genes. And ultimate goal is genetic transformation of plants with the stress-induced genes to make them more stress tolerant. Recently, I'm collaborating with Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And because of my background in plant extremophiles or plant stress physiology, we are right now studying how bacteria and photosynthetic organisms can survive in extremes of environment. For example, salt stress, heat stress, cold stress. With the ultimate goal is if we can understand the physiology of these microbes which survive in extreme of salt condition, for example, 10 molar NaCl, then we could say that these are not really at an uninhabitable conditions. That means if we can understand how they survive in this extreme of weather, then we could use our knowledge to understand the field of astrobiology. For example, how the microbes or these type of lives could they sustain in beyond the world, like outside of our Earth. Next is, the next question is, what do your students go to do after graduating or leaving your lab? My students, some of them went for grad school. So one of my students is currently completing his PhD at Washington University. My another student is completing her PhD from San Diego State University. The other students also work in research labs and biotech companies. That's most of them are doing. Next question is your research field based on a predominantly in the lab? Yes, my research is mainly based on the lab. We do very little, if any, field work. It's all, so the stress conditions that we study, we always create the conditions in our lab. We have growth chambers where we increase the temperature to study how plants are fighting back against the stress. So all our stress conditions are mimicked in the lab. So it's predominantly as a lab-based. Do your undergraduate, graduate students publish their work? Yes, absolutely. Means it's one of the requirements that I tell them when they join the lab, that I expect you to publish a full-length paper, and I expect them to come with me to the research conferences, or I want them to go to the research conferences on their own. So yes, it is a very strict requirement in the lab, and I expect them to be a co-author, or great would be a first author in the lab, in a publication, sorry. How many hours a week do you expect from graduate and undergraduates? I do not keep track of time they do. I tell them that you are expected to generate preliminary data, which could be used either to write publications. So I think that I don't keep track of the times. So basically they are on their own, and my students are very responsible. They come on their own. I give them a job, I give them the project, and then they complete the project. Thank you.